Hello everyone, welcome to Lighthouse Stamping with Lorraine. I hope you're having a wonderful day. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Vancouver, Washington, USA. So today we're going to be making, I call the 2-for-1 card, and we're going to actually make 4 cards today. We're going to be using Spruced Up. But before we get started, let's take care of all the housekeeping notes. Please remember to like and subscribe and share my YouTube channel. It is slowly growing, and we would like to get this up to 1,000 viewers so then we can start having lives. So all your help is greatly appreciated. Next, you find a description of all the products and everything I'm using below, all the measurements. You will also find a link to my online store. You will find my link to my email address and a link to my Facebook group, which we'd love to have you join. So one more item before we get started. I'm running a special this month. If you purchase a $45 order in my online store of Stampin' Up! Product, you'll be entered in a drawing to win this brand new stamp set and paper pad. And this is the Wonderful World that was in celebration this summer. So if you're interested in that, please place a $45 order in my online store, and you'll be entered in the drawing. The sale ends on November 30th. The drawing will be held on December 1st, and the winner will be notified, and then I will release the name shortly thereafter. Thank you very much. Also, if you hear some little bangs and meows and stuff, you should know I am being joined today by my 2 new kittens. Their names are Smokey and Shasta, and they're little hellions. So just so you know, they're running around the room. If I try to leave them outside of my office, Smokey sits outside and cries a lot. So with that being said, let's get on with the project. I'm going to show you some of the products we're using before we get started. We're going to be using Spruced Up, and we're going to be using some of the verses out of Christmas to Remember, because I really do like a couple of these. Love and joy comes to you, and may it last the whole year through, and may it be a Christmas to remember and cherish, and 'tis the season. So I really like those. We are only using 1 stamp out of this one, and that's the candy cane, but we are using a lot of dies. So that's the stamp sets we're using. Paper. I don't know if anybody's seen this. This is such gorgeous paper. This is called Festive Foil, and you get 2 sheets of the Cherry Cobbler, the soft and the gold. And we are going to be using the red today on one of the cards. But this is beautiful, beautiful paper. I think I need to have a drink really quick. So, yeah, it's single-sided. It's a foil. I don't know if you can see the foiling in there. I actually have a new light in here. I have 2 lights, and so there you go. On the gold, you really can see it. So that's that. We're going to be using that. We're also going to be using the white and red Glimmer paper. We're actually using the white. We're also using, I didn't bring up the big sheets. There's also the gold and evergreen and ivory Glimmer paper. We're using the gold. And then we're using paper from the 12 by 12 packages. And I'm not going to go through all of them, but we are using pretty much 1 sheet of something out of each of the packages I have here, which is the neutrals, this year's in colors, the regals, the brights, and the subtles. But you could use any color or any paper or any combination you want on this project. So I'm going to show you the first card. I'm going to show you the first 2 cards, because I call this a 2-for-1. So there's the envelope, says 'tis the season, a nice little candy cane. And this is the 2-for-1 card. So the reason I call it the 2-for-1 is we're going to cut out, and I've already pre-cut this. We're going to cut out of, this is Mossy Meadow, Old Olive, and Pear Pizzazz. We're going to cut out the trees in that color, and then we're going to cut them out in gold. And then we're just going to swap the pieces around. And this is the festive paper behind. And then inside it says my greeting, and it also says Season's Greetings, which I did not get out, which we will have to do. And this one says this. So this is the first card we're gonna make. Like I said, it will go rather quickly. Let me grab Season's Greetings before I forget, because I knew there was something I forgot to grab out. You know, it always has to be one thing you forget. Season's Greetings. So, and I've already got the dies, but I've pretty much cut everything out unless we're missing something. So we have, I'm gonna do our stamping first. Here's our envelopes. We have 2 envelopes for this card. And these are the inside of our card. And of course I have a couple extra just in case. And this is our festive paper. And these are all the standard measurements. The card is 8.5, what did I do these as? Oh, sorry. I did side fold cards. So these are 11 inches by 4 1/4 scored at 5.5. So we have those, and these are the trees I already pre-cut out. So like I said, the pretty much basic measurements. The white pieces are 4 1/4 by 4, and these are 5 1/4 by 4. So like I said, I kept it pretty simple, and I needed simple because I discovered that I was doing a little head count on how many Christmas cards I was short for this year, and discovered I still need about 50 Christmas cards. So a 2-for-1 is a great option. So let's go ahead and stamp our greetings. First, we're going to do Cherry Cobbler on the outside of this. You could use real red. We're going to do the envelopes. Let me check my envelopes. Always check your envelopes. Make sure they're going the right direction. And 'tis the season. 'Tis the season. I'll set that off to the side for now. And then I have, leave my mat real quick. So I do have one photo pommeler, and that is our little candy cane. Let's put the little candy cane like that. Now, you could have, so there's our 2 envelopes for our cards. And on these, I could have stamped in the real red or the Cherry Cobbler. But I decided I wanted my verse to be in Mossy Meadow. I know it's not your typical Christmas color, but I really did like it. So I'm going to go ahead and stamp that real good. Put it towards the top and the middle. And then I need to grab, oh, that's my longest block. If you excuse me one moment, we're going to clean this block off because we are actually done with this one. So I'm using my Stampin' Scrub to clean my block. Chamois will work as well. I do like my Stampin' Scrub. I have a couple of them, and they wash out very nicely. Little dishwashing detergent and there's some hot water, and they're all nice and clean. And then we'll do a little Season's Greeting. Leave lots of room for writing. Like that. Now I'll clean that one in a bit. I found a pine cone in the pine cone box, so they're playing. Hear little crunchy noises. So that's the inside of our cards. So we're going to go ahead and put the insides in real quick. Like I said, this is the most time-consuming part is making a few die cuts, but you could sit and mass produce this really easy by doing it in sections. And I didn't stamp anything on this one. Like I said, I was going for easy. I need a lot of cards, and I'm sure most of you do too. And you wanted something nice, something fun, but something fast and easy too. It is that time, and I know I do some very elaborate cards occasionally, and I actually have another one coming up later in the week that's a little on the wow side, but we need easy too. So these are the festive sheets that I did, and I'm not raising them up or anything. And the reason for that is when you're piecing, paper piecing pieces back together, you need a flat surface. I actually tried on the other card that I'm going to show you. I wanted to take and use the snowflake embossing folder, but for paper piecing on top of embossing did not work real well. Never tried it before. I did. Won't try it again. But, so, get that out of the way so I don't stick it in the wrong place. So, now we're going to make our cards. So, I'm going to set these aside for just a second. And I'm going to start dividing these up because I find it easier to split everything up before I start doing it. So, we're doing 2 cards at once here. So, here's our large Mossy Meadow tree. So, we know that the frame goes over here and the tree goes here. There's the large tree, so it's going to go around like that. This one's going to go with this one. And then these are Old Olive and Pear Pizzazz. You have to take a good look at them first, real. Make sure you got your colors right. And then we have a tree and a tree. But if you were mass producing these, you could just leave them in separate little piles or little envelopes or something so you wouldn't get them mixed up. So that's for one card, that's for the second card. So I'm going to go ahead and put my tree in first. I'm going to try to center it in the center of the card as best I can. About like that. Hold that just for a second. This is foil paper and it gets on that foil and it's a little slick with the glue, so you have to hold it for just a second. And then I'm going to go ahead and they're rearranging my office, if you can't hear them. Now, you don't have to get glue all around. I'm just putting a little glue on here. You could do the toothpick method. You could use a paintbrush and paint it on. I thought about using the double-sided tape and running it through, but this is not that hard to glue. Start at the bottom, make sure the bottom is all lined up, and then when the bottom's lined up, the top will line up just fine. I'm going to try to speed this up a little bit. Not the video, you know I don't edit my videos, so whatever happens, happens. Like I said, hold that for a second because this paper is a little thinner. With that foiling on there, it does get a little stick. You could use tape on this if you wanted for the inside pieces. It's whatever you choose to use. Doing the bottom first. Make sure it's all lined up. And then just go to the top. Like I said, this is a fast card. So how's everybody getting ready for Thanksgiving? You know, it's Thanksgiving week. Oh, I got a little too much carried away with glue. We'll just let that dry. We can come back, and if it's a little sticky, you know, we put a little powder, a little embossing powder on it. So that's one card done. Leave it there. The second card. Like I said, I'm just putting this on my grid. So I make sure that I've got the largest tree in the center, and then everybody just follows suit. Now the next card will be a little different. And it doesn't have trees. I said, you just need a little bit of glue here and there, not too much. Sorry, I'm concentrating. I'm also trying to figure out what my little monsters are getting into. Now we put the rest of these on. These gold trees are very cute. But this is a way to get a bunch of cards done real quick that have got a little bit of wow factor. You know, they're not over the top. And they get a little blue here, a little on the bottom. And I don't care if the Pear Pizzazz is on which side or not. It doesn't matter. As long as I have one to cover my tree. You gotta rub your fingers occasionally, get a little gluey. You can use the silicone mat and a toothpick if you want, like I said. I'm just going very gently on here. Remember, not too much glue. Now, the cat's just climbed my paper stack. So there's 2 cards. Like I said, it's pretty quick. So let me clean a little glue off my fingers. And like I said, it's got a big wow factor, but it doesn't take long. And it gets the job done. Now you could add some bling or some bows to that if you wanted, but I wanted to keep it simple and nice. So here I'm grabbing number 2. There's the first envelope. There's the second envelope. Now you can see what colors we're using. And there's the first card, and there's the second card. So this time we're using the ornaments. This is Starry Sky, this is Real Red, and Gorgeous Grape on a Starry Sky background. This is white. This is the one I tried to emboss, and I actually gotten some shimmery white paper out to emboss on, and it did not work too well. So I went ahead and die cut 6. 3. I'm going to show you this one. I brought the dies out. So when I cut these, there is snowflakes. And I lined the snowflakes in the dies right in the center like this. And I did them all the same way so they would line up that way. So that is one pass. So I did one of each of the colors in the shape I wanted, and then a white one in each of the 3 colors. So 6 passes total with this one. Or it may be more if you're using the small cutter. I used the large one for this. So anyhow, let's make these cards, and I'm going to show you how easy it is. Oop. And I have pre-cut out of foil, silver foil. Now, I know there's gold hangers out there, but I like silver. Silver's my favorite for hangers. And so I made silver hangers. I've already done 6 of them, just to help speed things up. And we have 2 envelopes we're going to stamp. And these are our pieces, and I'm going to sort those in just a minute with you. Here's the same measurements, 11, 4 1/4 score to 5 1/2, same. I kept everything the same, so it went, you know, streamlined. And so we're going to go ahead and do our stamping first. And I do need to clean this block off, because I didn't do it at the beginning. And I'm stepping away from my working area, because it sometimes splatters, and you do not want splatter on that. And I'm going to go ahead and clean off my candy cane because I used Cherry Cobbler last time. And this time I want to use real red. And we will go with that. Okay. Let me get this glue out of my way and the ink from the last one. And let's go ahead and stamp. Oh, these are sitting in front of me. We'll stamp those first. So we are going to stamp these in the Starry Sky. Just like that. I didn't put anything on the inside, but you can. I was after a card that could be easily mass-produced. And we'll leave that Starry Sky out. I'll make sure I got my envelopes out here. And 'tis the season going the right direction. And you don't have to use these color combinations. You can use, you got the plaids. I love plaids for Christmas. And so use whatever colors you like. You know, if you want to do all purples or pinks or greens, you know, use your thing. You know, make it your own. Make it the colors you like, you know. I'm going to go ahead and do this candy cane, and it's going to get... I could have done it Cherry Cobbler, but since I used real red on the card, I decided to put real red on the envelope. I'm really lucky at this point. These two have not figured out or not big enough to climb up on my desk yet. Thank God. But I want to keep them off my desk as long as possible. So just like the first one, we're going to go ahead and put the insides in. Oh, I got a little red right there. That's not good. Okay. I don't know if you can see the red, but I can. So let me grab my real red here. I'm going to clean this off. This is what you do. You find something to hide your mistake. In this case, I have a red spot here. The red spot's now gone. And so we'll just even it out. So this card will be a little different than the other one, but it doesn't matter. You know, there's some stars and some snowflakes, so there's other things in there. If you have a mistake, just find something to cover it up. And I think it's because I have red ink all over my finger. Sometimes when you add something because you hadn't planned on it, but it ended up because you made a mistake, and you end up liking it, and you go back and change them sometimes. I've done that. Okay, so that's our insides. Now, I'm going to take the moment, since the front of our cards are white, I'm going to just take a moment and get some of this ink off my fingers before. And as I said, if you have ink on your fingers, you need to get it clean. Hand sanitizer works really well. I keep a bottle of it and pump on my desk. And it also removes glue really well. But I'm going to put white fronts on these cards, and I do not want to, I don't want red all over the front. So we're going to put just plain white cardstock. You use shimmery white if you want. But white worked really good for me. There's one. I know sometimes you see me flip a paper over even though I had it one direction. It's just, and it's the same. The reason I'm doing that is when I cut paper, sometimes when you're cutting, most of the time when you're cutting, when you cut your paper, it sort of curls the paper in, and I usually try to put the curled ends or curled sides down. This is me, but you do you. So now we've got a bunch of colors to break out. So we know we have, this one I'm going to go like this. We're going to break the colors down first. And then we have the white. So if you're taking an outside, you know the next one's going to be the inside. So that means we need an inside for here. And an outside for here. So that means the next one on this one needs to be the colored paper. So the inside is going to be white. This one, you're just going back and forth, so you're not going over the colors. So we'll do this one the same way. I find it easier to lay it out before I start. So once you've got one, so you know what direction everybody's going, the layout works very fast. Oh, that is right. Okay. So that's a die piece, and that's the inside. Now this one, we have the inside and the out. Inside and out. That's going to be the inside. There's that one, and this one. And this one, if I can ever get my hand around it. So that's our breakdown. So we'll set these off to the side over here, and we'll do this card first. And grab my snips. And I waited to snip these off. We are going to snip it, but I waited to do that until I was building the card, just because it, I think there's a little more stability. And I didn't want them ripping on me, because they're thin. So we're going to put this one in the middle here. And I'm going to go ahead and stick this purple one. I want to make sure that I'm leaving myself enough space. Now you can lay them out in a different, orientation on the page, You do them straight across like we did the trees. I'm putting a little glue on here. This one up here. Make sure I've got that down enough. There's room to put my hanger. So now as I go, I'm just going to whack these off. I'll go ahead and do these right now. Just going right underneath. Matter of fact, on that one, I didn't even get it on the full on the page, which is fine because I didn't need it. Get those out of my way. Well, we might as well put this one on. Yeah, this is a nice job to sit in front of the TV, put a nice movie in. Your favorite type of movie. Ours is classic movies around here around this time of year. I like old movies. Always looking for old movies we've never seen before. We watched one yesterday. It was called Young Bess with Gene Simmons and Charles Lawton. Yeah, Charles Lawton played Henry VIII. And it was pretty good. Wasn't not the best, but it was pretty good. There's two. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and put our white pieces in, and it doesn't matter which one you grab and which one you go to. They're all identical. The snowflake is symmetrical, so it will fit in any of the holes, which is nice. So I'm just going to start up in this corner, and just like before, I started in the bottom and work my way to the top. Kids, I wouldn't play with those. They found the punches. I had the drawer of my punch where I keep my punches open, and they found them. Luckily, the punches are closed. They can't do much to them. Okay. Now, we put these pieces in, and this is optional. But this is a plaid, and you're going quite close to where you're at. So I like to try to make sure that my plaid is going in the same direction in the little snowflake. So you're so close to it. So I like to try to get them so they go back where they belong, because I think it gives a nice look. But you don't have to. You can just shove it in. It doesn't have to be a plaid. You could do this with our poinsettia paper or any of our papers. I didn't look at this one first before I started. That wasn't too smart of me. There we go. Yeah, look before you put the glue on though. It's a little easier. It's like putting a puzzle back together. So this puzzle doesn't want to go back together too easy. It's that way. I just think it looks nicer, but like I said, if it doesn't matter to you, then don't do that. Just slap it back in. But I think it looks a little nicer. Now, we're going to use some glue dots for the tops of these. Because you can use glue, but I found the glue dots for the tops of these little ornaments were much nicer to use because they slide around a lot. And I know with a glue dot, they're not going anywhere. And there's one card done. And here's the last one. Once again, I'm just sort of lining this up so I can get there. I need a sip of coffee, excuse me. Whoa, don't want to drop that. There's creatures on the floor that will be after it immediately. Yeah, like that. piece off. Ooh, I cut that one a little short. It'll be okay. We'll make it work. Go ahead and just do all three of them while we're here, so I know what they look like now. Start at the bottom. Okay. Yep, he'll be just fine. He'll just come down a little lower. I'll show you in a minute. It's always a way to fix something. First, we can get the rest of these pieces on. Down far enough. And I know several you're saying, but wasn't the purple in the bottom before? And it was, but who says I can't move it? Doesn't matter. Unless you have some reason, you can move them around anywhere you want. Now we've got this one a little close and it's overlapping, but it's fine. Okay. Now this one, I'm not going to worry about trying to match up the plaid because we don't have a big area. It's just the outline trim. And so it's really not worth the effort. But if you feel it is, then you can go ahead and do it. But I don't because it is so far apart. And trying to match it up would be very difficult. I love these snowflakes because they are symmetrical and they just fit in there so nicely. Got a little clinger there. And what's so nice is you don't have to have big pieces of paper to do this. And you don't have to have glimmer paper if you don't want. You could use something else. You could use all foil sheets if you wanted. You could use the other the festive foil I had out here that we used on the front of the other card. You could use that as the inside if you wanted. Like I said, it doesn't matter. I just happen to like plaid. Okay, let's get some glue dots out here. And I'm gonna put this one right over this, like that. And it doesn't always come, these are a little smaller, so they don't come right over, but it's good enough. Like many people I know, you'd rather get a handmade Christmas card than a store-bought Christmas card. Store-bought Christmas cards sometimes seem, I don't know, just impersonal. So this is the one I cut off a little short. And we're just going to put it on a little lower. And no one will know. Oop, let me see the glare. There. So, those are my double the card using Spruced Up. So, there's the first card. And there's the second card. So you can make some really pretty cards. You're not going through a ton of supplies because you can go to your scrap bin and start looking what you have in the scrap bin, because it doesn't take huge pieces of paper. I think the largest piece of paper it takes to cut this is 2 1/4 by 3, and that's to do, they're a little off, but you know, that's 3, that's 2 1/4. So they're not real big. So go out and have it fun. Try these. I love them. Please remember to like, subscribe to my YouTube channel, share, and I will join you next on Wednesday. Have a wonderful day. Goodbye.